Okay, good morning. This is the council update following the Monday, May 11th council meeting. One big thing I'm going to touch on before we get started here is Little Britches Parade this weekend on Saturday. Parade starts at 10 o'clock. A couple of things that are going on during that parade. Number one is Tate Barton's lemonade stand. Everybody needs to go by and drop a buck into that, into Tate's. It's a fundraiser for the High River Community Cancer Center, so stop by. We're trying to break, his record last year was $3,800. I think we can crack that easily, so let's get it up to $4,000. So bring your wallets to the parade with you and stop by for a glass of lemonade. Might only cost you $100 or so. So bring your wallets for that. That's awesome what Tate's doing. He's a kid that has absolutely stepped up to help out this community, so we need to give back to him and make sure that his little initiative keeps going and is successful. The other part on that is Emil Blockland, him and his wife Gail have donated their 1956 Bel Air Sport Coupe. It's being raffled off for the Community Cancer Center fundraising. Tickets will be on sale around the park or around the parade day. People will have them. The car itself will be in the parade, so you'll be able to have a look at the car, and as soon as you see it, I can guarantee you you'll buy a ticket for it. So there's a couple of big fundraisers going on for the Community Cancer Center. As well, after the parade, the River of Music is happening. The shops will be open. Everything else, there's going to be, the River of Music is a buskers fest, so there's going to be buskers all over town doing different styles of music, so you'll be able to walk around and enjoy all different types. That goes from, I think, right after the parade at around 11:30, something like that, right through till 3:30 in the afternoon. So make sure you stick around. There's a lot going on downtown High River, and it's going to be a fun weekend. Hopefully the weather holds for us, but I could care less what the weather does. We're still doing this, and that's the way we roll around here. So it's going to be a great day on Saturday. Monday is the Little Britches Rodeo out at the Ag Ground, so there's still lots to do all through the weekend. So for the council meeting itself, the first thing we had was a delegation that came to us from Kirk Davies with the Foothills Land Trust, and what Kirk was asking for was just the town's support in doing conservation easements on all the property west of town limits in the MD that has been bought out by the Alberta government. So what we want to do is put conservation easements on all those properties so that in the future developers can't really go in there and do anything. These are floodway areas now, and also just to protect it from off-road vehicles and these areas being destroyed along our river. So it's a very, very good thing. The town is going to be talking at IMC about this, and then we'll bring it back and probably get a letter sent off to support these guys in doing it. We want the same thing to start coming through all the way through High River. We're going to wait until the Wallisville buyout is all done and everything else, and we know the lay of the land as to how the different properties are working now. But it's very important that we protect these areas now from especially off-road vehicles right now. We want to make sure that the public is able to go down and enjoy the river. Those kinds of things, go swimming in the river and tubing and everything that everybody does. That being said, you know, running quads and everything else through there is just going to be off limits. We can't allow these areas just to become Dutch Creek destroyed. So that's where we're headed with the Foothills Land Trust, and I can't thank Kirk and these guys enough for stepping up and making sure these areas are protected. So going through, there was removal of municipal reserve and environmental reserve designations on the properties in Wallisville that the town owns. So in order for us to transfer title to the province for the buyout program, all those municipal reserve and environmental reserve designations need to be removed off of there. So that's being done right now, moving forward on that. The Wallisville Cleanup, I'm hearing a lot of people talking. Some are happy, you know, we got the 4 houses moved and everything else. A lot of people are still asking, you know, hurry up, why isn't it done? Well, number one, it's not the town of High River's project. It's the provincial government's initiative to get that place cleaned up. There are still a couple of holdouts in the buyout that are still being dealt with. But come June, end of June into July sometime, is when we have really been pressuring the government that we got to get moving on getting Wallisville cleaned up. So there's lots of properties that we can get going on. The biggest delay is the government cannot do this as a sole sourced contract and make it easy and away we go. They got beat up pretty hard with the whole Tervita thing, so that was during a state of emergency, and that's why states of local emergency exist, is so that you don't have to go through a 6-month tendering process. You can react and start getting things done, which is more important than anything else. Going into Wallisville, this all has to be tendered. They have to know what it looks like. Tendering process is grueling, whether it's through the town of High River or whether it's through the province. So it's in the works. It's going to happen. Is it going to happen as fast as we all want it to? Absolutely not. But it is what it is, and we're more than the end goal of having Wallisville as the floodway is the primary thing to be focused on. What's going on in the town of High River and the rebuild and how aggressive we're being at this, it doesn't all happen within a year. There's too much to do, and we're not just rushing through things just to make it go away. It's got to be done right, because this is our future. This is not just for 2 years. This is for the eternity of High River. So Wallisville will be cleaned up. It'll probably start in that July area, and away we go from there. So that's all I'll say about that. It's being taken care of, and it'll happen. The next piece, the big one on the meeting, was the Southeast High River annexation. This is concerning the 370 acres that are south of High River. One 50-acre parcel is known as Red Tail Rise. It's important to note that that is the only chunk that is Red Tail Rise, is the 50 acres on the west side of Highway 2A. On the east side of Highway 2A, there's 320 acres. That is only being annexed because we want to annex us the 50 acres, this 320. It costs just as much to annex 50 as it does 320. The 320 will be annexed in the future at some point in time anyway, so while we're going through this process, might as well just take it all in. Annexation does not mean development starts tomorrow. All it means is that it's within the town boundaries. There was a lot of discussion on this because we're being very careful that we're making sure that we're doing the right thing for this whole community. There was discussion about breaking out the 50 acres and only annexing the 50 acres from the 320. Myself and Councillor Brankovich were talking about that, as to maybe we should be doing this and only focusing on what we need. But the other side of the conversation that I can agree with and I understand fully is that costs the same amount to do 50 as it does 370, so we might as well just take it all in. So there was a motion to split it apart. The motion was defeated, so we are annexing the whole 370. At the end of the day, lots of discussion about an hour's worth. The developer was there with Rempels and Red Tail Rise. Just on the timelines, what the density looks like. There was people that are interested in and have purchased lots in Red Tail Rise already. A lot of discussion as to how this whole thing's going to look, because everybody has to know how this whole thing's going to shake out. I'm 100% supportive of doing this. The opposition comes from other developers, and I understand their concerns and everything else, but I tell you what, High River right now has an aggressive developer that wants to get building and doing new things and everything else. And in my mind, it'd be ludicrous for us to say, no, we're not interested. This guy wants to get going, and with what High River's been through, I think it's absolutely awesome. So let's get at this. And so where annexation goes from now. The town of High River is supporting the annexation. The MD of Foothills, I can't say, I'm not 100% sure that they have sent their letter of support in this to send it to Edmonton. Where it goes now is the municipal government board now has a look at everything. I think it's the MGB, right? Anyways, Edmonton will have a look at this annexation. They will hold a public hearing in High River, and you know, yada yada yada, away it goes again. And they are the final say. They have the final say on this annexation. So it's complicated, but not really. It's fairly simple. We've got 50 acres. It's a special place. It's a unique development. Council voted unanimously to support this thing and going through, and I definitely think it's the right move for us to make. STARS funding request was the next one. Last year we didn't do a donation. It just kind of got skipped with everything else that was going on. We were being tight with the money and everything else with High River. STARS came and did a delegation to us at the last council meeting. And this council meeting, we made a motion to put our support back to STARS again at $1 per person in High River, so it comes out to $12,920 that we will be donating to STARS this year, and then the same for next year, but next year will kind of get dealt with at that time. STARS is extremely important in this town. Everybody knows how many times that helicopter flies into this town or flies over this town, taking care of people in the Foothills region. So STARS is extremely important to this, and yes, we are still tight with our budget numbers and where we're putting money, but there's certain things that are up here that need to be taken care of, and STARS is one of them. So that's gone through. Away we go with that one. Community Resource Center. This is the new provincial building going downtown. And where the old provincial building, that area will not be a parking lot, people. It's going to be rebuilt with the provincial building. What they're asking for, there's a little chunk from the old provincial building. There's a chunk that kind of, the sidewalk's a little wider. They wanted to kind of creep into that. If they crept into that, it starts changing our design on 4th already. Which I am completely against. The design for 4th Avenue, the design for downtown is the future of this town. We're not messing with it. So they're talking about moving the building back into the laneway, but if you go into the laneway a little too far, then they have to limit their glazing windows. The amount of windows that are on that south-facing side. So they don't want to get too far into the lane to compromise the design of the building and the aesthetics of the building. So lots of discussion around it. We're not going to take trees out on 4th to compromise to allow this building just to go wherever they want it to go. We're protecting this town at all costs, and I don't care if it's the provincial government or any other developer that wants to come in. This is High River first, and this is our job to protect this town. There's a win-win here somewhere, so we've sent it back to those guys. We're not making any decisions on where this building's going to sit until they come back and they work with our planning department. There's a win-win as to where that building goes, so that we can keep the trees, keep the sidewalk as wide as we can, and get this building built at the same time. So sometimes you just got to work at things a little bit harder to make them right. So away we go. I love it. Win-win and rock and roll. Southwest embankment stairs. So one thing I'm going to start doing is quit calling our berms and dikes berms and dikes. I think it continues to make us sound like a flood town. I got an email from a gentleman, his name's John Taylor, and he was concerned about this, that we keep talking about that. So whether it's embankment or how we talk about this now, High River is the most well-protected town from flood risk in this country, bar none, and kind of need to start acting in that manner, so being positive about this stuff. That being said, where I'm going, southwest embankment stairs. We've got to start building some access points down to the river. Everybody knows the embankment that goes in along behind George Lane Park and down behind 8th Street and around the McLaughlin Meadows, etc. It's hard for a lot of people just to get back down to the river to enjoy that space. We need to build some stairs. Sandra Weeb is doing an excellent job. She's the one that's kind of doing some looking at crowdsourcing these initiatives. The town has kind of their ideas to where this should be going and how we could maybe make this happen, but honestly I think we can do it in a better way with Sandra's kind of proposal with crowdsourcing this, and you know, we can lend to that, but there's very cool ways of building stairs that are aesthetic and look nice rather than just wooden ramps that go down. But so that's good. There's a lot of discussion around how that's going to look out. Primary thing, we are and will be building access points down to the river. Extremely important. Scout Hall relocation. So the old log Scout Hall that's downtown High River, yes, it's iconic, and yes, it's a very cool little place, and those of us that grew up in this town, we all went to Beavers and Scouts, if I remember that right, in that building. That being said, it's old, and a lot of the logs are rotten in it. It's not much for refurbishing or rebuilding or moving anywhere. So and we don't just move everything to Shepherd Family Park either, so just because it's old. The Scout group needs a new building somewhere drastically, so it will be relocated, probably a new facility built somehow, and they are working with the town of High River to find property where we can put this, and the town has a couple of different places that I'm not going to speak to right now because it's all just kind of preliminary discussions. I don't want to get anybody all freaked out and upset before we even get started here. So we're asking the Scouts to come back and give us a delegation on, you know, these properties and where they see their best fit. So we're all working together on it to make sure that it's done properly. That's about it. You know the drill. Anything that's important to you, it's on the list. I can guarantee you that. We're almost done the street sweeping. It's going very quickly. We've contracted it out this year, and we'll be assessing the difference between the contracting and doing it ourselves, how that all worked out. So, but it's going quickly. We're almost done, and it's May long weekend, so we're very happy with that. So if you got any questions, email, phone us. You know how to get a hold of us. We're all over the website and all over Facebook, everything else. So have fun. Little Britches Parade Saturday, Tate's Lemonade Stand, Emil's car raffle. So bring your dineros. Let's get at it. Have fun. Bye-bye.